Tonight on Q2, problems boiling over in Big Timber.
You can use it for showering or whatever, but yeah, it's not advised to drink it.
The city dealing with more water issues. We'll have the details. Plus a scare at the fair.
You can't let your guard down as much as you used to be able to.
Yellowstone County authorities investigate after a woman says she and her boyfriend were assaulted after a night of fun and reeling in a record catch.
An old boat, old fishing rod, it doesn't matter if you're in the right spot, good things can still happen.
One fisherman drops a line in, coming up with this giant record-breaking salmon. The MTN 10 o'clock news starts right now.
From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 10 o'clock news.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us on this Wednesday night. I'm Russ Riesinger. Our top story, residents in Big Timber dealing with yet another water problem tonight. The city under a boil water advisory after their treatment plant experienced major flooding Monday, and it could be a week or more before the water is back on. As our David J. reports, it's the second water issue residents have dealt with in less than a year, and frustrations are starting to boil.
A broken water pipe caused some flooding and led to some damage at the pumps. They're still pumping water out to the city. It's just not filtered. In the meantime, people in Big Timber are making do until everything is fixed.
Unless you call pickle a produce.
The Timber Bar stayed open with requirements from the Park County Sanitarian. No water, no ice, no washing dishes, no steaks, and no produce.
Well, hopefully, if they can't put lettuce and tomato on my burgers, they'll supplement that with a bigger meat patty, right?
Joel Clark has taken some clients hiking in Yellowstone National Park and staying at the nearby Grand Hotel.
Otherwise, they put a bunch of bottled water in the refrigerator upstairs for guests to use. So, I'm okay.
All of the ice was made before the water was contaminated.
And Grand Hotel and Restaurant Management bought ice that was made before Monday. And the restaurant can use the dishwasher.
The requirement really is that when we're cleaning things, everything has to be kept, when we're disinfecting, it has to be kept over 160 degrees.
The city is still running water into Big Timber, but it wants to limit how much people use, and it's not for drinking.
We're sending unfiltered but chlorinated water to town right now. So the reason the boil water advisory is still on is because we're sending unfiltered water in.
Chris Novotny, Big Timber Public Works Director, says the parts arrived and the system may be fixed on Thursday.
We're still having a hard time finding a couple of pipe parts to finish a repair on there, but we should be able to get that by tomorrow.
And many are just making the best of the situation.
The city has been very helpful. They gave us jugs, and then they let us know to boil our water. We live in Big Timber. We don't have problems like that.
There's bigger problems in the world right now. This is very small.
Anyone in the community wants to donate 5 gallons of well water, provide them with a free well drink. So we've got to take care of our staff as well.
In Big Timber, David J., MTN News.
The Montana Supreme Court has invalidated a state abortion law today that originally passed in 2013 but never went into effect. That law would have prohibited anyone younger than 18 from getting an abortion without written consent from a parent or guardian. That law immediately faced legal challenges, and now after a decade, all 7 state Supreme Court justices ruled the law unconstitutional. The court heard oral arguments on the case in March after a district judge ruled the law invalid. Planned Parenthood of Montana sued over the parental consent requirement, arguing it infringed on the right to privacy in the Montana Constitution and saying the state could not show a legitimate health or safety risk to justify it. State attorneys said the right to privacy did not apply in full here because there's more latitude in how laws affect people under the age of 18. They argued the consent law was designed to protect minors. Not only will you see a lot of people at Montana Fair, you'll also see a lot of security, and with good reason. The fair has seen a handful of incidents in recent years, including a shooting 2 years ago on the Midway, and now another incident happening just last night. Our Charlie Kleps has more.
Typically, the fair is known for its fun carnival rides and great food. But on Tuesday night, right here at the upper parking lot at Metro Park, that fun experience was ruined for one Billings family. With so many different things to enjoy,
The food, the boat ride,
and so many people on fairgrounds throughout the day, the fun scene at Montana Fair can unfortunately become unpredictable.
you never know what'll happen. especially with a big crowd.
While there have been numerous fights and disturbances at Montana Fair over the years, few are as memorable as this. In August of 2022, shots rang out on the Midway, sending fairgoers running for cover.
Just in general, you know, the safety in the city is a lot more on my mind than it used to be, and it's the same coming to the fair.
And on Tuesday night, more violence. At least one family was assaulted by a group in the upper parking lot as they were leaving.
We actually talked about that before we came, as I told her that I had seen what happened last night, and she says, well, now I'm second guessing even wanting to go.
While no suspects have yet been arrested, the Yellowstone County Sheriff's Office is investigating. Sheriff Mike Linder tells MTN, quote, "For as long as I can recall, we have had disturbances or fights at the fair. In most cases that I recall, they have involved juveniles. Deputies have always provided the security at the fair, but after the shooting incident at the fair a few years ago, we dramatically enhanced our security protocols. Those improvements, according to Metro Park, include everything from more sheriff's deputies to security cameras and even metal detectors."
It's nice to know that there's at least somebody out there, a little more than usual.
But Linder acknowledges that there will always be a risk, telling MTN, "We do a good job of trying to be visible and proactive with patrolling the grounds. But when you have thousands of people, we cannot always be at the right place at the right time."
I think that's why we did come during the day, because at night it's even harder.
In Billings, Charlie Kleps, MTN News.
The Yellowstone County Sheriff's Office has stomped out a theft ring stretching several counties and involving dozens of stolen items. Law enforcement officers served a search warrant at 4930 Shepherd Acton Road, ultimately finding stolen goods from Wheatland County, Marr County, and Golden Valley County. All three agencies combined efforts on the case, with investigations leading to this property on Shepherd Acton Road. Some of the items seized during the search included 4 vehicles, 100 gallons of diesel, trailers, tools, and construction equipment. At this time, no arrests have been made, but the investigation remains ongoing.
Live look with the Stockman Bank weather cam here this evening is let's take a look at how the weather shaped up for us. 86 for the warmest reading, 59 for the low. That's very close to the seasonal average. Sunset now at 8:23, getting closer to the first day of school, which either brought smiles or tears, depending on who you are. Top wind gust 33 miles per hour today. We're doing okay for the year. We're a little bit behind, but double the rainfall for the month. We just haven't quite caught up yet. Temperatures statewide today, the gold shaded number shows the average temperature based on the 30-year average, but reading 70s, 80s for most of the highs. Did hit 90 up in Glasgow this afternoon, and we had some showers and thunderstorms. Picked up a little bit for you over in Miles City in the last 24 hours.
House Speaker Mike Johnson will be joining Montana 1st Congressional District Representative Ryan Zinke for a rally in Billings Friday. It's not clear why Zinke chose to hold that event here, since Billings is not in his district. Johnson took over as House Speaker after Kevin McCarthy was ousted last fall. The event begins at 3 p.m. You have to register to be given the location. We're told it's at a private residence. Zinke has brought several high-profile Republicans to the state this past week, including Representatives Jim Jordan, Steve Scalise, and now Johnson. Billings is no stranger to high-profile political visits. In fact, on this day in history, 60 years ago, Billings welcomed Lady Bird Johnson to the Magic City. Following a meet and greet with hundreds of spectators on August 14, 1964, Lady Bird Johnson traveled to the Jackson Hole Airport in Wyoming. Johnson, the wife of President Lyndon B. Johnson, served as First Lady of the United States from 1963 to 1969. An afternoon of fishing quickly turned into a trip into the state record books for one Montana man. Jim Fouth of Malta reeled in a Chinook salmon at Fort Peck with a flasher and squid last Friday that weighed in at a record 32.62 pounds. With more on the big catch, here's our Isabel Sparts.
Oh my word. It was a day neither Jim Fouth nor the record books will forget.
We were hoping to have some throw in the freezer, but didn't quite work that way.
It began as a quiet trip to Fort Peck Lake with Fouth, his wife, and friends. At first they weren't having any luck until something heavier than usual bit his line.
Whatever it is, it's not small. Yeah, it came in fairly quick. It took a lot of line off in a hurry, but once I got it stopped and slowed up, moving back toward the boat, It came in good.
The Malta native reeled in what he described as the largest fish he's ever caught and knew it would possibly compete with the previous state record of 32.05 pounds for a Chinook salmon.
Oh my word.
My goodness.
3 scales later, the king salmon came in weighing a whopping 32.62 pounds and 38 inches long, making it the new state record.
I've never caught anything that qualified for any kind of record. I don't plan on topping that because I don't think that happens twice in a lifetime.
Fouth says it's too big to mount at home, so he's planning to put it up in the assisted living facility his friends own, and that's where Rich White comes in.
That's one of the largest freshwater fish that I've probably done, other than saltwater.
White is an award-winning fish taxidermist and says that these types of salmon at this scale aren't common.
It's not very often that a fish like that's caught. You got to think at how long king salmon have been in Fort Peck. Quite a while, right? It's very unique to catch a fish of that size. For one, to bring it in when you got 32 some pounds pulling back down.
Doesn't even look real, it's so massive.
Fouth won't worry too much about the record. He just wants to go back to what he loves.
I just wanted to catch a fish, you know. I wasn't banking on all this other stuff, but my family is happy for me and, you know, I'm going to enjoy it.
In Fort Peck, Isabel Sparts, MTN News.
A Wyoming news reporter from the Cody Enterprise recently resigned after being caught using artificial intelligence to create fake quotes and stories. 40-year-old